And I introduce first Lisa Lacey from PanAmerican Seed.
Right. Thank you, Jim, and welcome to PanAmerican SimulCAST 2020. I am pleased to be able to introduce new products in the Beacon program. And as we get a first look at the CAST 2020 Beacon display, as you take a stroll through it, I'm going to give you a refresher on what high resistance means. So Beacon impatiens have high resistance to the current and prevalent populations of Plasmopara abducens, and this is the cause of impatiens towny mildew. Now, high resistance is not immunity. So what this means is you may see a little bit of yellow foliage, you may see a little bit of sporulation, but the plants upsize or they kick that leaf off. And that's the function by which the plants exhibit the high resistance. And this leads to the plants growing and thriving and living through a typical growing season. So you've taken the stroll, you've had the refresher. So what's happening in Beacon this year? So we're really pleased, first of all, to introduce a new color in Beacon. We're introducing the rose, which is a top 5 selling color. And let me give you a little bit of the details about Beacon rose. If you were in California right now, you'd be looking at this inoculated trial demo. This is my colleague Chris holding Beacon bright red. We also have the susceptible super alphins in there, and we also have Amara XDR in there as a demonstration comparison. When we have an inoculated trial, and I'm showing you images from a spring 2019 greenhouse trial here from Elburn, Illinois, and we inoculate these plants at a very young stage. And so these plants are 4 weeks after inoculation. And on the left, you'll see Beacon rose is growing, it's thriving. The susceptible super alphin were all dead, so I didn't need to show you a picture of that. And on the right is Amara XDR. It's growing, but certainly looks to be struggling. So on the left, take a look at Beacon rose. It's got healthy green, and it is continuing to thrive. The next thing will be about the phenotype. What are the characteristics that Beacon rose offers? So first, from a timing standpoint, Beacon rose, it falls right in the middle of the Beacon series. It's similar to the violet shades. It'll time a couple of days earlier than super elfin rose, and about 3 or 4 days later than the Amara XD rose. I really want to have you take a look at that basket on the left, because I think that's a beautiful classic example of what the Beacons, and particularly Beacon rose, does. You can see the nice shape, the structure, the flowers are sitting right up there on top, showing very well. And I call it like the classic PanAmerican impatiens look, and that's a beautiful basket, and that's what Beacon will do for you and what Beacon rose will do for your production. Let's take a stroll into the garden, and this particular garden is Costa, week 6, just a few weeks ago. And in the foreground, you'll see Beacon rose, and Beacon rose, like all of its other Beacon partners, have really great garden performance, well branched, very full plants, and a lot of flower color. So right behind Beacon rose is violet shades, then you got orange, bright red, and white in the back. So they all have the power to perform, and Beacon rose definitely has the power to perform as well. So what are some of the differences between some of the varieties of super elfin and the Beacon rose? So here you see Beacon rose on the right, and we talked about Beacon rose having a little bit more of a robust plant structure, and you can see that here. The plant's a little bit larger size than super elfin rose, and that's how the series is bred to be a little bit larger. But with that, you still see really great branching, and you can see good control. So it's manageable for you even with a little bit larger plant structure. If we were to take a look at the color differences between Beacon and super elfin, Beacon rose is a more rich, a little bit more intense color. I think it really is probably a little bit more true rose color compared to super elfin rose. Also take a look at the flower shape and the flower size. It's really, again, a very classic looking impatiens. Compared to Amara XDR, Beacon rose is a little bit more of a controlled plant structure, still has vigor, but yet well branched, nicely controlled. And here you can see the color differences between the two. Again, I feel Beacon rose fits into that classic rose color category. So, new rose. And yes, there are more colors coming, but I'm not going to tell you what those are. You're going to have to stay tuned and come back next year to see what's coming in Beacon and colors for the future. So Beacon Rose is the first new thing in the Beacon series. Second of all, we're going to be offering Beacon in new seed form. This is going to be coated seed form. This is a thin coat, bright yellow, and it's really to help handling. Basically, it facilitates easier sowing, flowing through the seeding machines, particularly the Blackmores, and it improves visibility in the trays. So it's really about handling, making it easier to sow your beacons. And the Beacon coated seed will be available beginning October 1st of this year. So you got a new color and a new product form. And I'm going to wrap it up with some performance information from the marketplace. And we're going to start in Texas. And this is a high-end landscape in Texas, and they always want to have impatiens in there. But unfortunately, the impatiens die from impatiens downy mildew. And that's what you're seeing in the image on the left and in the center. Those were super alphans that are in the process of dying. This photo was taken the 1st of June. The plant material was pulled out. 2 days later, beacons were put in. There's a couple of things to know about this. When they removed the super alphans, they didn't do anything to the beds. And when the beacons went in, the beacons did not have a preventative IDM fungicide. And what happened? They grew and they lived and they thrived. And the picture on the bottom right shows this bed in the end of July. And we also had reports that they continued to perform well throughout the rest of the season. We're going to stay in Texas and talk about this grower who converted all of their spring impatiens to Beacon. They did this because they wanted to bring the solution to the marketplace where their retail customer and their consumers could have success with the impatiens. And they found Beacon to be really easy to produce in baskets, as you can see the image on the right, but they're also finding to be very suitable in their 4-inch and in their 6-pack program. So quite versatile and fulfilling all the needs. And they're pleased to bring that back so their customers have success. We're going to head up to the East Coast. And this is a grower who is both a finisher and a plug young plant producer. They find Beacon ticks all the boxes when it comes to seed performance, seed quality, uniformity in the plug tray, color uniformity, and garden durability. And so they feel that Beacon really meets all their expectations, and they're going in the Beacon this year. The last stop we're going to take in this tour is Florida, and many of you probably know or have read that Florida really struggled with IDM. It was a perfect environment for the disease. This is a very high scale resort in a very high scale southern Florida city, and these beacons went in October. Impatiens in Florida are a fall product, so October through early spring, about now, is the key season, and it's also the key season for impatiens downy mildew. So these went in October, planted on all these trees, and these images came to us just in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it shows that Beacon continues to perform and thrive throughout the season under the pressure of IDM. So in a brief summary, what we've got this year for Beacon certainly is the information from the marketplace. We have more information we can share with you. You can put questions in the Q&A or reach out to us at beacon@patience.com, PanAmericanSeed.com. We have a new seed form for easier handling, and we have that brand new color. So with that, I am going to pass the presentation off to my colleague Sonali, who's going to share with you new wave colors, an improvement in marigolds, and some really cool foliage celosia.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm going to start out with wave petunias. We have 2 brand new introductions in the wave series, with the first one being Easy Wave Rose Fusion. This is a really nice, rich color with a vein pattern that's darker, and it's a bicolor or a novelty type. Novelty types have been really popular both with consumers as well as retailers. And this Easy Wave Rose Fusion joins the other existing bicolor types, Plum Vein as well as Burgundy Star. Rose Fusion has a moderate habit. It matches really well with Pink Passion, which is a well-known variety in the marketplace. Here is a grow out for Cast, and you can see Rose Fusion in packs, in 6-inch containers, hanging baskets, and large patio containers. You can see how versatile and nice this habit is for various sized container formats. Another key feature of Rose Fusion is that it is extremely early to flower. It flowers at a day length of 9 hours, or longer, and therefore for all practical purposes, it can be considered day neutral. It's also the earliest variety in the entire wave assortment. For your ease of use, we have put together this chart that shows day length requirements of all the easy wave, shock wave, original wave, and tidal wave varieties. It shows that easy wave rose fusion flowers at 9 hours, and which is the quickest to flower, and then wave carmine velour at 13 hours would be the latest to flower. Please use this chart to choose varieties that are early season for your early ship weeks. This is available at panamseed.com. Next up is new shockwave variety, purple tie-dye. And we had a really cute contest on social media, and our consumers helped us name this variety as purple tie-dye. Because just like its name, or just like tie-dye, it is very playful, fun, and has a cool bicolor flower with purple, blue, or white coloration within the same plant. Here is a grow out forecast, and you can see how plants have bicolored flowers on the same plant. And just like other varieties that are bicolor types on the market, the flower coloration depends on numerous factors, such as PGRs, temperatures, and light intensity. In this crop culture grow out, we are showing the effect of PGRs on flower color formation. The picture on the left shows plants that were treated with diminozide, also known as B9, at the time of bud formation stage. And if applied when the buds are forming, plants tend to form more white flowers. However, if B9 is applied early on in production, but from the start of bud formation all the way until finish, if other PGRs are used, on the example that's on your screen, we have shown a demo with bonsai wrench, you can get more blue flowers in the population. So to make sure that you have a balance of both colors, make sure to use B9 early on before the bud set. Temperature also influences flower coloration in purple tie-dye. When grown under coastal California conditions with warm days and cool nights, plants have more white flowers. When grown under conditions like South Florida with hot days and sweltering nights, plants have more blue flowers. So to get a better balance of white and blue, grow plants under moderate conditions, such as daytime temperatures into the mid-70s and night temperatures into upper 60s. To wrap it up, we have two really nice novelty type bicolor introductions. Both have been very popular with consumers as well as with retailers. The first one is Easy Wave Rose Fusion, and the second one is Shockwave Purple Tie-Dye. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about our brand new marigold series, Marvel 2. Marvel 2 is an African marigold, and it replaces the existing Marvel series. This is a tall type marigold. It's about 20% taller than our dwarf series Taishan. So Taishan is good for packs, and Marvel 2 would be suitable for 6-inch, gallons, or larger containers. These types of larger containers have recently been very popular with the Day of the Dead programs. Marvel 2 also performs really well in the landscape and would be applicable where growers are looking for more taller backdrop type plants. Marvel 2 series consists of 3 colors, orange, gold, and yellow, and a formula mix of all 3. African marigolds are facultative short day plants, meaning they flower faster under short days compared to long days. And the old Marvel series were extremely late to flower under long days. It took 3 weeks longer under long days than short days. However, Marvel 2 has been bred to flower a whole week faster under long days. In the picture that's on your screen, this is the trial grow out forecast this year. Plants on the left are the old Marvel series, and plants on the right is Marvel 2. And you can see that when grown under long days, Marvel 2 flowers a whole week faster. Marvel 2 also has a tighter flower structure, and therefore the flowers don't split open under very hot and humid conditions, which was a problem with the old Marvel as well as competition Inca 2. In summary, Marvel 2 replaces Marvel series of African marigolds. It has a tighter flower structure and it flowers a whole week faster under long days compared to old Marvel. Fantastic Foliage is back. Fantastic Foliage is an umbrella which captures all of our seed varieties that have really beautiful colors and textures in their foliage. We had grown out our entire Fantastic Foliage collection for you for CAST this year. You can see it in the picture being on the screen. And since you missed the actual grow out, we'll make a brochure and send it your way this summer. So be on the lookout for that. A really nice introduction into our Fantastic Foliage is Soul Collection of Foliage Celosia. These are foliage celosias, so they make great additions to your foliage programs. They do extremely well in mixed combination containers, particularly in your summer combos, because being celosias, they're very heat tolerant. These varieties also have very good landscape performance. We are introducing Soul Collection with two varieties. The first one on the left on your screen is Gecko Green. Gecko Green won the Flora Select Gold Medal Award this year, which is a European equivalent of AAS. The variety on the right is Lizard Leaf. Both these varieties are grown for their foliage, so if you want their flowering to be delayed, grow them under long days, because just like African marigolds, they are facultative short day plants and will flower fast under short days. Of course, the key feature of these is their beautiful purple foliage. Everybody asks us how to make their plants look bright purple, and the most important attribute is highlight. Grow them under highlight. You have a demo on your screen showing plants grown under low, medium, and highlight, designated by DLI of 7, 12, or 15 moles. When grown under highlight, the foliage of Soul Collection is bright purple. In summary, we have a brand new edition of Soul Collection in our Fantastic Foliage with Gecko Green and Lizard Leaf. Both these varieties are suitable for your foliage programs. If you want them to flower late, grow them under long days. And for bright purple foliage, make sure to grow them under high light intensity, at least for the last 2 weeks of production. With that, I'm going to hand over the presentation to my colleagues who will talk about kitchen minis. Take it away, Josh.
Thank you, Sonali. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. I, along with Chenny Filios, will be presenting our Kitchen Mini program with you this afternoon. And before we get started on specifics of the Kitchen Minis, I wanted to go over some of the consumer trends that our colleague Seth Reed, who is one of the co-founders of Grow It, provided for us. Grow It is an online community of plant enthusiasts, and he was able to extract some information that is directly related to the Kitchen Minis. So one of the trends that he has shown and is seeing is a trend for the desire for indoor plants. I don't think that's really a surprise to any of us. That trend is continuing, it's growing, whether it's houseplants or other types of plants. And speaking of other types of plants, when you look at what consumers are wanting to grow indoors, edibles is a very popular product that they're looking to grow. And then lastly, consumers are looking for something different and unique. Of course, the old standards are great as far as tomatoes and peppers go, but people now are really looking for new and different products. And all of this information is very useful, I think, when we're talking about Kitchen Minis. So what is the Kitchen Mini program? It is a collection of peppers and tomatoes currently that are meant to be grown both by a grower and by a consumer in a small container. And when I'm saying a small container, I'm typically referring to 8 inches or smaller, depending on the variety. What we're doing with the Kitchen Mini program is we're telling consumers that if you don't have a garden, if you don't even have a patio to grow a container variety on, you'll have an opportunity to grow your own food. These are plants that are meant to be grown on windowsills. They're meant to be grown on a patio table rather than the actual deck itself. No garden, no problem. So I kind of wanted to go over a few of the differences between kitchen minis and a standard patio type variety. So in this slide here, you have Fresh Bites Red on the left-hand side, which is part of the Kitchen Mini program. And you have Snackabelle Red on the right-hand side, which is just a standard container pepper variety. First, as I mentioned in the last slide, the pot size on the Fresh Bites Red or the Kitchen Minis is smaller. Whereas, typically standard container varieties could be anywhere from 10 to 14 inches, oftentimes with a trellis. Another difference is that on the Kitchen Minis, not only should there be fruit on the plant at the time that they're being sold, but ideally there should be color on a few of these fruit as well. And then something else that we've been fielding a lot of questions about is the harvest times on these. With the Kitchen Minis, we're not telling folks that they're going to get season-long harvests off of this. The idea behind it is you take the plant, you bring it home, you grow it for a few weeks, 3 to 5 weeks, depending on how the plant has grown, the condition it was in at the time of sale, etc. You harvest off of it, the plant fizzles out, and then hopefully a consumer would go and buy another one. So that's the type of harvest period that we're talking about when it comes to these Kitchen Minis. A few other things to think about when you are looking at the Kitchen Mini program here is that these should be considered a premium product. If a consumer is going to buy this and take it home and grow it in the same container that they buy it in, you have an opportunity here to add decorative pots. These should certainly be higher priced than a standard 3 or 4 inch tomato or pepper plant that would be found in the bedding plant section. And another thing to consider with these is an opportunity for season extension. Because of the fact that these would potentially be grown by a consumer indoors, these don't just need to be sold in late spring and early summer. They can be sold in the early spring, throughout the summer, in the fall, even in the winter, if there are opportunities to do that at that time of the year as well. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about is the different market channels that these can be sold into. Obviously, a garden center is a great idea for it. But in the garden center, this doesn't only need to be sold in the bedding plant section with the other vegetables. These make perfect gift ideas. Mind you, I'm partial, but I would love someone to bring me one of these if they were coming over for dinner or something like that as a nice gift product. These also can be sold in grocery store, and not only in the gift plant section, but the produce section. Many grocery stores now have potted herbs in their in the produce section. A consumer will buy it, take it home, use it for a few weeks, and then the plant fizzles out and they go and buy another one. It's a similar story with the Kitchen Minis. Rather than buying a pint of tomatoes or a bag of peppers, you buy one of these plants and you use those for a few weeks before going and buying more. These also make great edibles for online retail because the plants are small. You don't have to worry with higher shipping prices. And then another channel that I'd like for you to consider also is choosing plants for home grow systems. These grow systems, these indoor small grow systems, are becoming more and more popular. There's lots of different types of them. And it's really important with these systems to choose the right varieties, especially when it comes to a tomato or pepper, because of the space restraints. And these products would make very, very good choices for that as well. So that's just kind of an idea on some of the different ways that these products can be sold. Now I'm going to pass it over to Chenny, and she's going to tell you a little bit more specifics about the varieties.
Thanks, Josh. As he said, Chenny Filios, I'm the product manager of vegetables at Pan-Am Seed. And here we have a video of the Kitchen Mini Siam, which is the first tomato that we're introducing in the collection of Kitchen Minis. And you can see it's a really versatile tomato variety that works really well from a 4.5 inch all the way to an 8 inch. In that 8 inch, you could put 1 or 3 plants depending on how large you'd like it to get. On average, the plants are about 7 to 9 inches tall and about 10 to 12 inches wide. So really nice, manageable size to be able to ship them to lots of different places like grocery or a garden center. The production on these are about 2 to 3 weeks for the plugs, so really very fast, very similar to a standard tomato. And as Josh mentioned, we do recommend selling Kitchen Mini Tomato Siam with a few ripe fruit on it, and that'll be about 10 weeks from transplant. And we do recommend that you transplant into your final container size, your nice deco pot for the consumer. When your consumer brings them home, we recommend that they put them in a really nice, well-lit area, like the window behind me, or on a really nice summer time when the nights are above about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, you could put it out on a patio. If the consumer doesn't have enough light, we do recommend using a grow lamp or another system to be able to have more light in your home. We also have a really handy chart that you can find on our website. And this will show you all of the varieties we currently have available in the Kitchen Mini collection, including some sweet peppers like Fresh Bites Orange, hot peppers like Taquito, and our new Kitchen Mini Siam. So that's all for Kitchen Minis. And with that, we'll pass it over to our colleague Cor to talk about perennials.
Welcome, good morning, good afternoon. Broadcasting from Holland, my name is Cor de Jong. I'm product manager for perennials based in Holland. Thank you for joining into the perennial part of our breeding through the Kieft seed brand and the Darwin brand. We have a great introduction year this year with key perennial crops that are being launched. First of that is Echinacea Artisan Series, separate colors F1 Echinacea, to be presented by Mr. Chris Fifo later on. We have Lobelia Starship with 3 new colors, the Extreme Dasante Blue, and 3 early spring crops, Ecclesia Early Bird Series, Arabis Barranca Series, and Aurelia Golden Rush. What you're seeing is our Early Bird Series, Ecclesia. This is a series of 8 new colors and a mix. The Early Bird Ecclesia will be replacing our Songbird Series. It also removes some issues that growers had growing and offering Ecclesia. First issue was the fertilization requirement. Southern growers had a risk growing Ecclesia as this crop required too much cold to get reliable flowering in their warmer climates. With this new series, deliberately bred in Costa Rica by Mr. Rolo Solano and Ms. Krista Kieft, we reduced the cold requirement to induce flowering. Just 5 weeks of average daily temperature of 50 to 55 Fahrenheit after 5 full leaf stage will provide enough cold to get good flowering. Second issue was limited color range. Well, we did something about that. We are launching new and exciting colors that will generate more interest. A red yellow, a purple blue, a purple white, and a blue yellow. All colors that have not been seen before and will spark new interest in sales in Ecclesia. The third issue was variable habit and finishing. Early Bird Series is a uniform series in habit and timing. You can see that on the left part of this slide. All habits are dense and tight and have short flower stems. It is bred to be timed tightly, only a couple of days between the different colors to finish. Purple yellow is a week later, but the rest finishes closely together. And we have a very short harvest window per each color, allowing bench run production. Another big issue was no scheduling was possible. With all the genetics, it was not possible to schedule for other or longer sales periods. Growers just had to wait till cool winter period was over and then wait for the crop to finish. Now with Early Bird Series, because of the low vernalization and relative quick finish, growers and retail can plan this crop to be offered for a longer period in the shops. This can be programmed via different and subsequent transplant dates of the products. Something about positioning. How is our positioning against the competition? Our main competition is Syngenta. They just launched the Kirigami series in 2018, replacing their Origami series. Kirigami has 5 colors, a red, a rose, a blue, a light blue and a yellow. This was also bred in Central America with low vernalization, same as we did in Costa Rica. What we saw from the trials last year, as you can see on the right of this slide, that the main colors, red and blue, are stretchy and tall. Not a very uniform series. But there is also other competition. Benari with Spring Magic series that's been around for a long time. It's a uniform compact series, but it has a strong vernalization requirement, so not suitable for sudden growers. Another key features are the hanging flowers, not very appealing. And as you can see on the left part of this row, all our varieties are upward facing and very appealing at sale stage. Then positioning within PanAmerican itself, we are dropping the Songbird series that is positioned for retail quarts and gallons to be replaced by Early Bird series. But we will maintain our Swan series, positioned for landscape and do-it-yourself market. Tall types with strong and attractive bicolors, standard items in many perennial programs. Some key facts on Echinacea Early Bird. Long day treatments. When growing in short day winter season, growers need to apply approximately 4 to 5 weeks long days, minimum 13 hours day length, to get stem elongation. You apply this approximately 4 weeks after transplant. Otherwise, plants will flower in and under the foliage. Winter hardiness. Even though this was being bred in Costa Rica, through our winter hardiness testing, we saw that the winter hardiness is the same as other Echinacea series. Genetically compact. The Early Bird series is bred to be more compact than Songbird, and it is suitable for indoor growing, both tunnel or gold greenhouse. Juvenility. Please remember, plants need to have a certain age before they can receive cold. This is defined as minimum 5 true leaves before you can apply the cold period. Then the product form, the seed product form is raw seed, same as we have with our Swan series. So summary on Early Bird Echinacea, new colors, low cold requirements, a controlled habit, and a tight flowering window. Now on to our Lobelia Starship series, bred by Mr. Hans Sasbrink. We have 3 new strong colors in the Starship series. We have a burgundy, we have a scarlet bronze leaf, and we have a blue. Starship series brings to strongly branched plants with intense bold colors. No pinching required. These are currently in Santa Paula. These are 3 gallon pots in a 12-inch decorative pot. Something about the new varieties. This is our Starship Blue on the left side. It is a strong non-fading blue, which is a good color addition to the Starship series. There's no other blue on the market anymore, since on the right side, that is Fan Blue, it was dropped from the catalog. Fan Blue was late and not very well branching. In the middle you see a burgundy. The burgundy has a deep wine red color, great item to include in your fall combos and to stand out in a mix. Then on the right side, our special scarlet. Starship Scarlet Bronze Leaf gives you that strong contrast between the purple bronze foliage and the vivid scarlet flowers. A popular combination that will stand out in any garden or landscape. Scarlet Bronze Leaf is approximately 7 to 10 days later than other Starship varieties, and it is replacing Vulcan Red. Here are the 5 varieties again. On the right, the purple bronze leaf, Starship Scarlet Bronze Leaf. In the middle, the blue is a little taller. As competition, we only have Benari with Fan series. They now have 2 colors left, a scarlet and a burgundy. Fan Scarlet has an erect and little branching habit that will not easily fit into large containers. It has a variable habit you need to grade and sort. It is later, approximately 1 to 2 weeks later. Sam burgundy is green leaf, okay flower color, but a bit taller than starship burgundy. Key info on Lobelia speciosa. Please note we have a forcing and culture schedule for supply from Mother's Day up to Labor Day. Please check our website on perennials and look for our forcing chart. And also please remember, for plug growing, Lobelia speciosa needs to be grown in short day, maximum 10 hours. The product form is a single pellet. You can find all this and more detailed information in our grower facts on our website. Thank you for your attention, and I'll be happy to hand you over to Ms. Chris FIFO, covering our exciting Echinacea program. Thank you very much.
Hey, Cor, thank you very much. Just before we pass it over to Chris, I do have a couple questions on the Q&A. So there was a question going back on the celosia, the gecko, on related to the height on the celosia. If Sonali, if you could just speak just briefly about the height of that celosia.
The gecko celosias are about 10 to 14 inches tall. And this and a lot more information about everything we are presenting is available in the CAST app. Jim, do you want to talk about how to access it?
Yeah, because I had the CAST app is here, and actually you can search for the CAST mobile in the App Store. And that's a really nice feature. In addition to all of the new products and the height, garden height and so forth, there's actually a like feature. It has here with a little thumbs up. So on the Echinacea, on the Aquilegia right there, I'm just going to hit like, and you can see a little thumbs up.
Good.
And
Thank you.
the little chime. See, I like that early bird. That's a really nice, beautiful new product. Nice uniform series. So I'm excited about that one. So you can indicate which ones you like. You can make notes to yourself. It's a very useful feature, and you can also send pictures outbound from this app too. And all the photography that we have for all the pictures is also available on our website. So you can use our photography is your photography. So I did have a question also related to the beacons. The question that came through was on sun and shade. So if, Lisa, if you could just speak to that in certain climates, where the beacon would be applicable in the sun, where impatiens we always know is a shade plant, but the question was in what type of markets might it be applicable in the sun?
Yeah, so if we look about the global markets, so in Northern Europe, United Kingdom, a lot of places in Northern Europe, it's a full sun product. Likewise, in the South in the winter months, so the Florida images that we were showing folks, that's a full sun product there. I think because the humidity levels are higher and the plants can handle that. A lot of us here in Midwest and in California, high, dry, plains, lower humidity, they really do benefit from that partial or the shade. So that's the difference in terms of where sun shade comes in when we're describing impatiens placement in the garden.
Yeah, that's helpful clarification. Thank you. There was a question around POP and marketing materials on the kitchen minis. So Josh, if you could speak to that on related to the kitchen minis.
Sure, thank you. Yes, we will have lots of, sorry, I opened my window shade, so I'm really bright right now. We will have lots of POP, both for carts, tags, that type of stuff that'll be available this summer. And so for more information, all they need to do is get a hold of us.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, Josh.